Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go!
I watched videos about this subreddit lately, so I decided to sign up and share my experience. I get mistaken for employees all the time, but this one was different. I work as a security guard for a private company. My main job is as a correctional officer, but I picked up this security gig for extra cash. Most nights, I just drive between client properties making sure everything is secure. It's usually quiet. I spend shifts trying to stay awake and not snack too much. This happened about 4 years after I quit Walmart. I was confused for an employee at a store I never worked in. I was wearing tan tactical pants, my duty belt and thigh holster with my sidearm in it, a green polo and a ballistic vest with reflective letters saying security. I stopped at Walmart because I needed food. Taco Bell was closed and I didn't want gas station food, so I grabbed a sandwich from the deli while driving between properties. After getting my sandwich, I walked toward checkout when a couple approached me. The woman had that classic haircut and expensive clothes that seemed odd for late-night Walmart. Her husband was slightly overweight in a polo tucked into khaki shorts. The woman demanded I check in the back for a bookshelf they had been waiting for someone to find. I stared at her, confused. Did she not see what I was wearing? The gun, the vest with security on it. I told her I didn't work there. Her face twisted into a scowl. She said I was lying, claiming she saw me stocking shelves earlier. That was impossible since I just walked in 10 minutes ago. I told her again I was a security guard, not a Walmart employee. Her husband stepped forward and pointed at my green polo. He said I was wearing store colors and told me to stop being lazy and help find their bookshelf. I shook my head and walked away. Some battles aren't worth fighting, and I was hungry and tired from my shift. I just wanted to pay for my sandwich and get back on the road. At the front of the store, I heard familiar voices. The couple found a customer service manager and were screaming at the poor employee who looked confused. The woman complained that an employee refused to help them and was rude, just walking away when asked for help. The customer service manager, a younger woman in her early 20s, tried to calm them down and asked which employee they meant. The husband spotted me in line and walked over. This guy, who clearly never been in a fight, got in my personal space and started yelling. He called me lazy and complained I refused to help find a bookshelf. Remember what I was wearing? A loaded gun, pepper spray, baton, the works. I stepped back to create distance, my hand moving closer to my sidearm, not grabbing it. Just a natural reaction when someone gets aggressive that close. We caught the attention of the store's actual security guard. She was young, probably new, and unarmed. She approached us, unsure how to handle the situation. I held up my hand for her to stay back and told her to call the police. The word police changed the husband immediately. His face went from rage to panic, and he ran out of the store, leaving his wife behind. She kept screaming at the customer service manager, not noticing her husband left. I paid for my sandwich, stepped aside and called my boss to explain and tell him I'd be off-site for a while. The police showed up fast, about 2 minutes after the call, because the store's security guard told them someone was screaming at an armed security guard and they worried he might get shot. When they arrived, I explained everything, showed my credentials and permits, and they took my statement. They asked if I wanted to press charges, but I decided it wasn't worth the paperwork. I just wanted to finish my shift and go home. They said they'd watch for the couple and left. 2 weeks later, I'm at our problem site, a car dealership robbed 4 times under our company's care. Every robbery happened when we were off duty. The owners finally paid for overnight security, which is why I was there at 1 a.m. I parked our security vehicle among used cars, cut the lights and engine, and watched the area where break-ins occurred. It was quiet, just me, coffee, and occasional raccoons through the lot. That's when I saw them, the same couple from Walmart walking between cars with flashlights, looking in windows. What were the chances? I called my boss at 1 a.m. I told him the couple from Walmart 2 weeks ago was looking at cars on the lot. He was silent, probably thinking I made this up. He asked what they were doing, and I said just looking at cars with flashlights. He told me to call police, then get them off the lot. Nobody should be there at that hour. I called the sheriff's office, since they were 4 minutes away, compared to local police who would take 20 minutes. When a deputy arrived, I explained everything, the Walmart incident and finding the same couple at a car lot at 1 a.m. We approached them together. I took the lead to see if they recognized me. I greeted them and mentioned our previous meeting, telling them they couldn't be on the lot outside business hours and asking them to leave. The woman recognized me and got angry. She said I was the one who refused help at Walmart and asked if I was stalking them. I told her I was a security guard for the dealership and repeated they needed to leave. She insisted they had every right to be there as customers looking at cars. I pointed out not at 1 a.m. when the dealership was closed and asked again for them to leave. The woman screamed at me while her husband walked toward me with clenched fists. My training kicked in. I drew my sidearm and took a defensive stance. I went from calm to alert instantly, my voice dropping to that authoritative tone from the correctional facility. I told him to stop and not take another step. He froze, eyes on my gun. Then the deputy stepped out from behind a vehicle, taser drawn with a red laser on his chest. The deputy said she was sheriff's department and ordered them both on the ground. The woman screamed and backed away but didn't get down. The husband, finally understanding the situation, got on his knees. I stayed quiet, letting the deputy take control. She was law enforcement, I was just a security guard. I kept my weapon drawn but pointed safely, ready if needed but not interfering with the deputy's commands. The husband tried defending their actions, saying they weren't doing anything wrong and just wanted to look at cars without salespeople bothering them. The deputy pointed out they were on private property at 1 a.m. with flashlights, which was trespassing, and his approach toward an armed guard made things worse. She told him to get on the ground again. The woman finally stopped screaming long enough to process what was happening. She protested, insisting they were potential customers, and questioned how they could arrest customers. The deputy told her she would arrest them for trespassing if they didn't listen, giving one last warning to get down. Finally, both got on the ground. The deputy called backup, and I holstered my weapon but stayed alert. Minutes later, another deputy arrived, and they handcuffed the couple. As they went to patrol cars, the woman ranted about suing everyone, me, the dealership, the sheriff's office, probably the entire state. Her husband was quiet, probably realizing how badly he messed up. Both went to jail that night for trespassing. I later found out they weren't the thieves from previous break-ins. They really were just entitled people who thought rules didn't apply to them, and they could look at cars whenever they wanted, even in the middle of the night. The actual thieves were caught about a month later when they stole a Porsche with a GPS tracker. Not very smart criminals. After the couple left, I gave statements and filled reports for my company and the sheriff's department. By the time I finished my shift that morning, I was exhausted but amused. What were the odds of meeting the same entitled couple twice in completely different places? My boss left when I gave him the full report next day. He suggested we offer a special security package for retail stores dealing with entitled customers. I told him I'd rather watch empty buildings and car lots. At least raccoons don't ask me to check for bookshelves. This was the most excitement I've had as a security guard. Most nights, I try to stay awake, fight the urge to eat all my snacks, and chase away teenagers skateboarding in empty parking lots. The customer service manager from Walmart called me a few days after the car lot incident. The couple had been going to different stores in the area, doing the same thing, pretending not to understand when employees said they couldn't help making scenes, demanding managers. They were banned from 3 other stores already. She told me after I left that night, the woman went out to find her husband and discovered he drove off without her. She had to call an Uber home. We laughed about that. I still work security, still get mistaken for store employees, and still watch for entitled people trying to bend rules. I still stop at Walmart for sandwiches when Taco Bell is closed, but grab food and leave quickly. You never know who might think you work there, even wearing a tactical vest and carrying a gun. I wonder what happened to that couple. Did they learn? Did they stop harassing retail workers and trespassing? I doubt it. People that entitled rarely change, but they probably think twice before approaching someone in a security uniform now. I have more stories from security and corrections, but this is the most bizarre case of mistaken identity I've experienced. Next time you see someone in a store and think they work there, look at what they're wearing before making demands. If they have a gun and a vest saying security, maybe they don't work for Walmart. If you want to check out cars at a dealership, wait until business hours like normal people. It's less likely to end with you in handcuffs or looking at a security guard's gun. That's my story. Thanks for reading, and be kind to retail workers and security guards just trying to eat sandwiches in peace. I should start from the beginning so you understand how I ended up in this mess. I'm not from this country, and English isn't my first language. I work in IT, which pays well, but my real passion is running tabletop games. I've been running a Shadowrun 3rd edition campaign for a small group of friends for years. We prefer the older edition because it allows for more detailed character creation and depth, something I value in my games. One of my players is this amazing woman who I've become good friends with. She's about 170 centimeters tall, muscular, and intimidating when she needs to be. She works in law enforcement, dealing with serious criminals. She prefers that over working with female inmates because there's less drama with the serious offenders. She's from a Roma background, but she prefers to be called Gypsy. She has her reasons for this preference, and I respect that. She's one of the most straightforward people I know. We were at the local shopping center discussing her character in our Shadowrun campaign. She had her tablet out showing me some spreadsheets she'd created for her character. It was nothing fancy, just a regular tablet, but it had all her game information and personal data on it. That's when we noticed this woman nearby. She was causing a scene, yelling into her phone. We didn't know the term Karen back then, so we called her Miss Insignificant between ourselves. She seemed like someone who felt unimportant in her daily life and made up for it by being loud and demanding. She was busy being angry and couldn't find what she was looking for. After hanging up her phone, she saw us and decided we would help her. She rudely told us to help her find something immediately without any politeness, just entitlement. My friend was busy with her tablet, so I replied. I told her that we didn't know where her item was, that we didn't work there, and that we didn't have time to help her. She asked if I knew who she was in that entitled way. I didn't smile. I didn't care who she was, but I was sure she wasn't anyone important. Probably some low-level secretary who thought too highly of herself. I started to tell her that she was someone who hadn't learned basic manners, but before I could finish, she slapped me across the face. I was shocked and getting angry. My friend began cursing in Hungarian. If you've never heard a gypsy woman curse in Hungarian, it's an experience. They have curses that name demons responsible for diseases. But this situation was so shocking that even my friend was caught off guard. That's when Karen grabbed my friend's tablet. She told my friend that now that she didn't have that distraction, she should help her. It happened so fast. Karen forgot about whatever she was shopping for. Her mind was focused on the conflict, on proving she was superior. She was holding my friend's tablet, and the situation was getting worse. I started recording everything with my phone. We couldn't use violence to get the tablet back. That wouldn't be self-defense. We could try to hold her until police arrived, but that seemed risky too. Karen started shouting about how she was going to lecture us and made some racist comments toward my friend. My friend warned her about bad results, which scared Karen enough to make her run with the tablet. She had a head start and pushed a shopping cart in our direction to slow us down. She knocked things off shelves as she ran, creating barriers. My friend chased after her while I followed behind, trying to keep up despite my size. The store manager saw what was happening, but from his view, he saw Karen screaming that a gypsy woman was trying to rob her and a gypsy woman chasing her claiming Karen robbed her. Then he saw a big white guy, me, running after both of them. When my friend caught up to Karen, the manager told the security guard to stop my friend, but let Karen go. It was a quick decision and a terrible one. You'd expect to work with security and management, but not when they're being racist and letting a thief escape. The manager was angry and not thinking clearly. I told the manager that he should release my friend because she had done nothing wrong. The manager refused, saying that my friend had tried to rob the other woman. He said we would pay for all the damage to the store and would both end up in jail. My friend for robbery and me for helping her. He was yelling. I mentioned that I had recorded some of what happened. The manager said their security cameras had recorded everything too, calling me a jerk. I replied that this was more proof to show he was wrong and warned him that if he didn't stop, he would face legal problems. I made it clear this was his first and only warning. The manager then turned to the security guard and used racist and sexist words to describe my friend and me. He told the guard to catch me as well, saying that our kind helps robbers. I started to warn the security guard about what would happen if he tried to hold me. The guard said he could hold me back until the police arrived. I finished my warning by saying that if he did that, he would be breaking the law and we could protect ourselves. The manager kept yelling at the security guard, using more bad words and telling him to catch me. Maybe he thought I was a lawyer. I'm just an IT guy. I had mentioned self-defense, but it didn't seem like a real threat since my friend and I had been calm up to this point. The security guard had 3 people yelling at him: the manager, me, and my friend. The manager was angry about the mess in his store, not thinking straight and being racist. But then everything changed. I had warned them about the possibility of self-defense, and my friend suddenly acted. Within seconds, she had the security guard pinned. When they complained, we said that I had warned them about self-defense and that both their video and ours would prove we were the victims. They had helped a thief escape, one of them was racist, and the other used too much force illegally. The security guard quickly understood the situation and said he was just following orders. I couldn't help but ask what kind of crime he wouldn't commit if ordered by the manager. I told him that when 2 people accuse each other, the right way is to hold both parties until the situation is clear. And since the issue was about the tablet, it would have made sense to keep the tablet there. What he did was unprofessional, wrong, and against the law, no matter who did what. The guard got my point and started to apologize, while the manager kept complaining. My friend called the police and other authorities. I showed the video making it clear that Karen had stolen the tablet and had been rude from the start. The security guard said sorry again. As he wasn't as upset as the manager, he was able to understand what had happened. He told the approaching store workers that we had acted within our rights, all while the manager kept whining. The security guard asked the store manager if he wanted to end up in jail. When the manager asked why he would go to jail, the guard said discrimination. The manager said that discrimination isn't a crime. He was right, discrimination itself isn't always against the law, but the store could be fined for it. Telling the guard to stop me with racist comments might be a crime. Making many racist comments in public might be a crime. Breaking rules that ban discrimination can be a crime if it creates risks. How he helped a thief escape with stolen property is another legal problem, especially if it happened because of bias. Though I doubted he would go to jail for all of it. They ended up arguing and the manager never said sorry. We used this time to decide what to do next. We didn't want to create major legal problems for the store or the manager, but we did want an apology and payment since, without his actions, my friend would likely still have her tablet. I believe the manager had acted out of anger rather than deep racism. If he were truly racist, he probably wouldn't have that job. When anger speaks, people can't think straight. But that didn't mean we should lose anything because of his poor judgment. We thought we'd wait a long time for the police and maybe face arguments with them too, since holding back a manager to protect ourselves is unusual. Surprisingly, 2 officers arrived quickly. They didn't follow protocol, but I couldn't blame them. The first police officer asked us to explain what was happening. Since I'm a big guy, they talked to me first. The security guard quickly said that we were acting within our rights by holding back the manager until they arrived. I greeted the officers politely, confirming what the security guard had said. I started to explain that while it would be unusual to hold someone just for making bad comments, the store manager tried to say that what he said wasn't hate speech and tried to explain himself. The second police officer told him to be quiet before he made things worse for himself. I said this wasn't about the racist comments, but about the false accusations. I suggested that we not talk about those comments yet, but asked if I could show them some video first. The first officer agreed to watch my video. I showed him the recording focusing on the part with Karen. I told him that this was why my friend had called them and asked if they could let her report the crime first, before talking about what happened afterwards. I didn't stop the video yet. The first officer agreed but kept watching us in the video. I turned to the manager while the second officer paid close attention to our talk. I tried to address the manager's behavior, but he said he wasn't racist. The second officer questioned him, asking why the tablet and thief weren't there if he wasn't racist. He asked why the manager had accused the victims instead, and noted that he hadn't heard an apology or seen any attempt to make things right. The officer said that we were still giving the manager chances to fix the situation, without worse results. The manager could only say but repeatedly, without a real defense. The manager finally realized it would be better for him to pay us for the lost tablet, the lost data, and for his behavior. If the police got officially involved and his bosses learned about the incident, it would be much worse for him. He would spend far more on lawyers than what he would have to pay us if he was willing to pay for everything and make the problem go away. At first, he offered to buy a replacement tablet and some expensive drinks to say sorry for his behavior. But in the end, we settled on a tablet of our choice within a good price range, a big upgrade from the lost one. We chose a Microsoft Surface, which turned out to be the perfect replacement. The whole incident was weird from start to finish. A simple trip to the store turned into this strange conflict with an entitled woman, a racist manager, and ultimately, a free tablet upgrade. I still run my Shadowrun game, and my friend still plays in it. We sometimes use that Karen as inspiration for annoying characters in our game. I've learned that these Karen encounters are more common than I thought. The entitlement, the refusal to listen, the quick jump to violence, all signs of the species. I wish I'd known the term back then. It would have saved us the trouble of coming up with Miss Insignificant. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.